Well, we're here at the Wisconsin Faith and Freedom Coalition presidential kickoff. Governor Romney has about 1,000 of his close personal friends out there, and some who are not quite as friendly in the press corps who are in the back of the room. We're not going to let them ask questions today. Governor, thanks so much for being here.
Thanks, Ralph. Good to be with you.
All right. I don't think we're going to make any news right now. Because
I hope not.
But I'm going to try.
Oh, all right.
There are reports that you met privately with Newt Gingrich in New Orleans this past week. There have been a lot of people calling on him to get out or calling on Rick to get out. Are you agnostic on this position, or
one topic we have never discussed amongst ourselves, among the various candidates, is somebody getting out. We've talked about the campaign, about President Obama, about the issues we're going to face going forward, but we have kind of a regular chance to get to see each other and to chat. When we're in the same city, the same time, with blanks on our calendar, we get together. So it's not as personally antagonistic as some people might imagine. We're all on the same team. We're fighting ultimately the same person, President Obama. And even though we have some differences amongst us during the primary process, we'll come together, I think, in the fall in a way that will make us victorious.
Now, you're working really hard. I mean, I don't know how many people know just how many events you're doing, how many trips you're taking. I mean, you're doing 5 events today.
I got to fire somebody. I didn't know I was doing 5 today.
They told me.
Okay.
And I guess my question is, as this thing begins to wind down, and it looks like we're nearing the end, what's your pace going to be like? Are you going to be primarily raising money? Are you going to be going out to battleground states? What's your focus going to be?
Well, a real campaign has to include fundraising. It has to include reaching out to the base, and it has to include going out to the people who are undecided, the independents, Latino voters, a lot of women voters, young people that our party is typically not focused on. So you have to do all of those things, and I'll be very active until November 6th, and probably after that if I'm lucky.
Now, Governor, we don't want to get the cart ahead of the horse, but you got 2 big endorsements this week. 2 of them, I think, most attractive leaders in our party. Senator Marco Rubio of Florida and Congressman Paul Ryan, chairman of the Budget Committee, who's going to introduce you in just a minute. I don't know about your list, but they're on the top of all the lists that are floating for a possible vice presidential nominee. And without getting into names, should you be fortunate enough to be the nominee, what are you looking for in a running mate?
I think the key characteristic that you want in a running mate is someone who could unquestionably become the president if that were necessary. That's what people want to see. Have you chosen someone who can be president? Mm-hmm. And for me, that's the criteria that if I'm lucky enough to get the nomination, I'll focus on. And we have a list of probably 10 or 15 Republicans in this nation that are top leaders that could surely fall in that category. But I haven't made that selection yet. I haven't begun the process yet because it's kind of presumptuous, frankly. But Marco Rubio's endorsement and Paul Ryan's endorsement, they were huge. George Herbert Walker Bush and his wife Barbara Bush were kind enough to Jeb Bush come on board. So a number of folks have said, okay, look, let's get behind the guy who's got the momentum now and focus on President Obama.
Now, your main focus during the campaign, from a messaging standpoint, has been that you know the economy, you understand jobs, you know how to get this economy moving again. But you also have a lot of people in the party, many of them out there that you're going to be speaking to, who are not exclusively concerned about social issues like marriage and life and religious liberty, but those issues are very important. What's your message to those voters?
Well, I want to restore all the values that made America the nation that we are, and that includes our economic freedoms, our political freedoms, our personal freedoms, our respect for life, our respect for marriage. All of these things come together, and in some respects you see a president who's attacking every aspect of the fundamental values that made America the nation we are. I want to take a very different course. And my course restores the values that I think are critical, and among them are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. It's an interesting series of words, but it does capture
and life
a great
is first.
deal. Life is first, liberty, religious liberty, political liberty, economic liberty, pursuit of happiness. I mean, these are things that have been lost in this administration. So, what we galvanize the American people around, I think, will be a conviction that America needs to return to the principles that made us the nation we are.
And speaking of which, last question, David Clark, who is the president's senior political advisor in the White House, was on Meet the Press, I think, last week, and called you the godfather of Obamacare. I thought it was kind of interesting that they were trying to claim that you like he used to. legislation. But
I
they
think,
claim,
I think they finally realized this thing is a stinker. They want nothing to do with it.
I think they're looking at the same numbers we are.
Yeah.
But what do you say to them or the critics who claim that because you had an individual mandate in what you did in Massachusetts, that it was the inspiration of Obamacare?
Well, they should have given me a call. I told them, number one, it's unconstitutional to do it at the federal level.
Yeah.
Number two, what they're doing is massively expensive and simply can't be afforded. As Marco Rubio said, even if Obamacare were a well-designed piece of legislation, which it's not, we can't afford trillions of dollars of additional federal spending. On that basis alone, we got to get rid of it. And then there are a number of other measures: the increase in taxes, the cuts to Medicare. Look, the president has really stepped in with Obamacare, and he's looking for some way to deflect the anger that's going to be appropriately focused on him. And I've said from the very beginning, I opposed a national federal mandate. I would repeal Obamacare if elected president. And if I get a chance to debate him, I can't wait to point out the fact that he should have given me a call and I'd have given him some advice not to pass Obamacare.
I think you kept that under 2 minutes. I think you're ready for the October debate. Good to see you, Governor.
Thanks
for
Ralph.
being here.
Good to be with you.